Hello students, welcome to our online classes. I'm Mrs. Nehal More and children, today we are going to learn Civics chapter 3rd, what is government? I repeat again, what is government? So, in this entire chapter, we are going to learn about government. Okay, so what are we going to study in this chapter? These are all points we are going to study in detail. First one, work performed by government. Second, levels of government. Third, laws of the government. Fourth, types of government. And number 5, democratic government. Okay, so let's begin with before that there's a picture in your book. Government sought to protect rights of unorganized worker. Detailed plan of tackle flood. Soon says government. Government fixes prices of onions. Says no shortage in market. Supreme Court can have 5 more judges. Says the government. Government for ramping coal for and power sector. Over 15,000 villages declared scarcity hit by government. So who is government and who gave the authority to the government to decide all such things for the people? This is what we are going to learn in this chapter. Now, let's start the chapter. Every country needs a government, right, dear children? Every country needs a government. Why it needs a government? To make decisions and get the things done. These can be the decisions about where to build roads and schools, or how to reduce the price of onions when they get too expensive, or ways to increase the supply of electricity. The government also takes action on many social issues. For example, it has several programs to help the poor. It does other important things such as running postals and railway services. Now, why is the government important for the country? Because the works or the decisions such as where to build the roads, or where to build the schools, or how to reduce the price of onions in the market, or supply of electricity, or health issues, everything, who is taking the decisions? Government is taking the decisions. We cannot take the decision where to build a road, right, dear children? So who has given the authority to take these decisions? Government is given the authority. Now let's study about it. Okay, the government also has the job of protecting the boundaries. Not only these works, but also it is having the job of protecting boundaries. Now what is the boundaries? Okay, I'll tell you in detail. Okay, protecting the boundary of the country and the maintaining peaceful relationships with the other countries. Now, dear children, tell me, who are our neighboring countries? Come on, tell me. Yes, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan. Yes, these are all our neighboring countries. Sri Lanka. So, it's the duty of the government to protect the boundary of our countries from the neighboring country, and also we should have peaceful relationship with other countries. Okay, now it is responsible for ensuring that all its citizens have enough to eat and have good health facilities. Not only ensuring the security of the country, but it is also having the responsibility that each and every citizen should have enough food to eat in our country, and also we are provided with good health facilities. Now when there are natural disasters means what? Like tsunami, earthquake, this doesn't come manually, right? They come naturally. So these are natural disasters. So, when there is a natural disaster like tsunami and earthquake, it is the responsibility of the government to organize the assistance for the affected people. If there is a dispute, or if someone has committed a crime, you find the people in court. Court is also a part of the government. Okay, dear children. Perhaps you were wondering how government managed to do all this, and why is it necessary to do? When human beings live and work together, there needs to be some amount of organization so that decisions can be made. When we live in a society, some amount of it should be organized so that everybody can live happily together, and that's why the government is given the authority to take decision on behalf of the society, and then we are following it. Understood, dear children? Okay, now next. See now, for example, some examples of institutions such as a part of government are Supreme Court, where criminals or we can go and fight for the justice, right? And also Bharat Railway or Bharat Petroleum. These are all government companies, so which are providing public facilities to the people of the country. Understood, dear children? Now, some rules have to be made that apply to everyone. Now, some rules are applied to each and every citizen in the country. For example, there is a need to control resources and protect the territory of a country so people can feel secure. This is very, very important. It's very important that people should feel secure in the country. How we can feel secure? If the territory of the country is, that means if we are safe in our country, then only we will feel secure, right? So government do this on behalf of the people by exercising leadership, taking decisions and implementing these among all the people living in the territory. Okay, understood? Now, levels of the government. Now, next point comes levels of the government. Now that you know that government is responsible for so many different things. Now we have seen government is responsible for so many different things. Then how the government manages to do all this work? The government works at different levels, at the local level, at the level of state, and the national level. Now three government works at three different level: local level, state level, and national level. Now in this chapter we will be studying local level. Okay, the local level means in your villages, town, or locality. Local level means the government which runs in our village, town, or locality. Now state level means what? State level will mean that which covers the entire state, means complete state government. Okay, now for example, state like Maharashtra, Haryana, Assam, they are having their separate state governments. Okay, and the national government, national level government means which relates to the entire country, complete country. Okay, so you understood there are three different levels of the government: local government, which runs in village, town, or locality; state government, which runs in the entire states, for example like Maharashtra, Haryana, Assam; and the national government, which covers entire country, means our complete India. Okay, now laws and the government. Laws and the government. The government makes laws, and everybody who lives in the country should follow this. This is the only way government can function. Just like, see now, government is making law, and everybody is bound to follow the law, because if we don't follow the law, the government will face lot of problems in functioning the country, right? So this is the only way. If we follow the law, then only government can function properly. This is the only way government can function. Just like the government has the power to make decisions, similarly it has the power to enforce its decisions. Means government is not only having the power to make decisions, but if we don't follow the decisions, then it also has the power to punish us, right? So for example, see, there is a law that saying all the person driving a motor vehicle must have a license. Those who are driving vehicles, they must have license with them. And if any person who is driving without license is caught by the traffic police, then he can be jailed, or a large amount of money, means he can be fined with the money. So this is the things. This is who has made the law? Government has made the law. And for whom they have made the law? For people. And if the people doesn't follow the law made by the government, then government is having complete authority to take actions against those people who are not following the laws made for the beneficial of the people. Understood? Next, In addition to any actions that government can take, there are also steps that people can take if they feel that particular law is not followed. If suppose some people feels that this law we don't want to follow, this law is incorrect, this law is not proper, then people also can take actions against the government. Okay, if a person feels, for example, that they were not hired for a job because of the religion or caste, he or she approached he or she can approach the court and claim that the law is not been followed. Now here the question arises of equality, right? We have learned that every citizen has been given the equal right in our constitution, barabar hai? So what happens if any person, for example, he or she is not hired for the job, he or she is not given a job because she belongs to a particular religion or a caste, then that person can approach to the court and ask for justice. Now who gave this person the authority for asking justice? The rule which was made by the government, that everybody is same for the in our democracy. Understood? The court can then give the orders what should be done, then the court decide what punishment should be given. Okay, the types of government, what are the types of government? The answer to this question depends on the type of government there is in the country. Now which type of government is in our country, the answer depends upon it. Now there are two types of government. Initially, in a democracy, it is a people who give the government this power. In a democracy, people gives government this power. They do this through the elections in which they vote for a particular person and elect them. Now there are two types of types of government: democratic government and monarchical government, that we will learn. Now what is democratic government, that we will learn first. So democracy is where the people are giving right to the government, or people are giving power to the government. Then what happens next? From where the people come who are elected. Now sorry, okay, they do this through the elections in which they vote for the particular person and elect them. People are voting and electing a person as their ruler, and that ruler is making decisions on behalf of the government. Okay, once elected, these person form a government. Whichever person we are electing in by giving votes, that persons form a government. In a democracy, government has to explain its action and defend its decision to the people. Now we have learnt earlier, in democratic country, India is a democratic country, so whatever actions are taken by the government, that actions must be explained to the people. Whatever actions, decisions, people are having complete right to ask the questions to the government. Okay, democratic government. So India is a democratic country, always keep this in mind. Understood? Next is a monarchy. Now this is the second type of government. What is it? We'll learn. Another form of government is monarchy. Another form of government is monarchy. Now the monarch, that is a king or queen, has a power to make decision and run the government. Here they in a democratic government, the people are elected by the ministers or MLAs are elected by the people, right? So but here who is taking decision? King or queen is ruling over the people. Understood? The monarch, that is a king or queen, has a power to make decision and run the government. The more we have small group of people to discuss matters, but the final decision maker by the power remains with the monarch. This is very very important. What happens? King or queen can has a complete power to make the decision and run the government, right? And sometimes king or queen have small group of people to discuss the matters, or so that he can final uh, decision of making power remains with the monarch. So this is very important. He may discuss with the people, but final decision of anything, whatever you want to decide, remains with the king or queen, and nobody can question about his decision. If I ask you to differentiate between democratic government and the monarch government, you have four different points. Which are they? That first of all, in democratic government, people are elected by the people, whereas here king or queen rule the people, right? Next, their people's thinking is taken into the consideration, whereas here the king or queen is having small group of people to discuss. Next, third, complete decision making power is with the king or queen in monarch development, whereas complete decision making power is not with one person. It is been discussed all around and then taken the decision, right? And the last one, nobody has the right to ask any question about the any decision to king or queen, but in the democratic country all people have right to ask the questions to the government. So this is the difference between monarch government and the democratic government. I hope you have understood it. Okay, now next. Now, what is democratic government? India is a democracy. Yes, I told you India is a democratic country. India is a democracy. This achievement is a result of a long and eventful struggle of the Indian people. After a lot of struggle, we have achieved this achievement. Okay, there are other places in the world where people have also struggled to have democracy. You know that there are main features of the democracy is that people have the power to elect their leaders. I have told you, people in the democratic country, people have complete power to elect their leaders. So in the sense of democracy is a rule by people, that means democracy is the rule by people for the people. Understood? The basic idea is that people rule themselves by participating in making these rules. Basic idea is people are ruling themselves by the people for the people. Understood? Okay. Next, democratic government in our times are usually referred to the representative democracy. In representative democracies, people do not participate directly but instead choose their representatives through the election process. These representatives meets and makes a decision for the entire population. This we have learnt already, right? These days a government cannot this government cannot call itself democratic unless it allows us to known as universal adult franchisee. This term we have learnt in the first lesson itself. Universal adult franchisee, which means every adult above 18 years has the right to vote. Understood? Okay. Now, but it was not always like this. So democratic country now which we are living in, it was not like this before. How it was, we will see. Can you believe that there was a time when government did not allow women and the poor to participate in elections? Nowadays each and every citizen of the country, even a beggar, is allowed to take part in the voting system, right? So he is allowed to, or he is given right to vote. But earlier it was not the same. Women and the poor were not allowed to participate in the elections, means they didn't had the right to vote for the elections. In the earliest form, government allowed only men who owned property and were educated. First, what happened earlier times, that only the people who had properties and who were educated, they were only allowed to vote. This means that women, the poor, the propertyless and the uneducated were not allowed to vote. The country was governed by the rules and regulation that these few men made. So it was very very worst at that time, because only few people voted and according to them the country, whole entire country was ruled on. Understood? Because women's, the people, those who were not having property or those who were not educated, they were not allowed to vote. Okay. Next, in India before independence, only a small minority was allowed to vote and therefore came together to determine the fate of majority. Several people, including Gandhiji, were shocked at the unfairness of this practice and demanded that all adults have the right to vote. This is known as universal adult franchisee. Understood, dear children? Gandhiji revolted against this and said that every person should have the right to vote, and that right was known as universal adult franchisee. All adults should have the right to vote. If she might be a woman, he might be poor or propertyless, that doesn't matter. If he is a citizen of the country, he has complete right to vote. If he is an adult, that means he is above 18 years old. Understood? Gandhiji were shocked and he revolted against the unfairness. Okay, next, writing in his journal Young India in 1931, our country got independent in 1947. Gandhiji wrote in 1931, imagine, dear children, what he said: I cannot possibly bear the idea that the man who has got wealth should have vote, but that of the man who has got character but no wealth or literacy should have no vote. See what he said, very beautiful thought. The man who is having wealth, okay, man who is having money, why that person is only given authority to vote? And if a man is of good character, if a man is of good behavior and he is not having wealth, or he is not educated or literate, then why he is not given authority to vote? Okay, so beautiful thought he was having. Or that man who works honestly, means he is very honest in his work, and by the sweat of his brow day and day out, should not have the vote for the crime of being poor man. See what a beautiful thought Gandhiji has given, that I cannot possibly bear the idea that the man who has got wealth should have the vote, but that of the man who has got good character but no wealth or literacy should have no vote. Or that man who works honestly by the sweat of his brow day in and day out should not have the vote for the crime of being poor man, means being a poor is a crime. Crime or what? Why he is not given right to vote? So Gandhiji revolted against this, and in our democratic country, afterwards everybody got the right to vote. So remember, children, this is how the government works, and our India is a democratic country. Okay, understood? I hope you have enjoyed watching the video. Thank you, dear children, for watching. Thank you and have a nice day. Thank you.